You're in a conversation with a group of people and everyone seems relaxed, laughing, having a good time. But you notice something: the slight tension in someone's jaw, the way another person's smile doesn't quite reach their eyes, the shift in energy when a certain topic comes up. And you're the only one who sees it. Later, when you mention what you noticed, people look at you like you're reading too much into things. You're overthinking it. Not everything has a deeper meaning. But you weren't looking for it, you just saw it. If this is you, if you're the one who catches what everyone else misses, you've probably spent your whole life feeling like something's wrong with you. But here's what you need to understand. You're not broken, you're observant. And what feels like a curse is actually a specific psychological profile that works completely differently than most people's. Today, we're going to explore what it really means to be the observant one. Not so you can fix yourself, just so you can finally understand why your brain works this way. Let's dive in. You live in high definition. Here's what most people don't understand about being observant. It's not that you're trying harder to notice things. It's that your brain processes more information by default. While most people's brains filter out background details, yours lets more through. You see the world in high definition. Body language, tones of voice, micro-expressions, unspoken dynamics, the energy in a room. And all of this happens automatically. You can't turn it off. Which sounds like it should be an advantage. More information equals better understanding, right? But in practice, it's exhausting. Your mind never shuts off. You're always processing, always noticing, always analyzing. A friend texts back LOL instead of their usual longer messages, and you immediately wonder what changed. Someone checks their phone right after saying, "I'm fine," and you know they're not fine. And the worst part? You can't explain it to people who don't experience this. When you try, you sound paranoid, or overly sensitive, or like you're making things up. But you're not making anything up. You're just seeing what's actually there. This isn't emotional, it's mechanical. Here's the part no one warns you about. This is where being observant starts costing you relationships. Someone's tone was slightly different today. Why? Are they upset with you? Did you do something wrong? Or are they just tired? You cycle through possibilities because your brain has collected data that needs processing. While everyone else has moved on from the interaction, you're still analyzing it, looking for patterns, trying to understand. This isn't you being emotional or insecure. It's your brain doing what it's designed to do, make sense of the information it collected. But people don't understand why you're still thinking about something they forgot 5 minutes ago. They call you sensitive. They say you make things complicated. They tell you to just let it go. But you can't let it go. Your brain is trying to close a loop that other people never even opened. It's wired into you. So why are you like this? For some people, it's just how their brain is built. It's linked to personality traits like openness and conscientiousness. Some brains are simply wired to process more sensory information, but for others, it's a learned survival skill. If you grew up in an unpredictable environment where you had to constantly monitor the emotional temperature of the room to stay safe, your brain learned to stay on high alert. This is called hypervigilance. Your brain became a threat detection system, always scanning, always reading between the lines, always looking for danger. And even now, years later, even when you're objectively safe, that system is still running in the background. Whether it's nature or nurture, the result is the same. A brain that keeps the gates wide open to information. And that feels like living with the volume turned all the way up, all the time. If this feels uncomfortably accurate, consider subscribing. We dive deep into these psychological patterns that explain why you are the way you are. This is where it gets isolating. Here's the part that wears you down over time. Being observant is lonely. Not just because it's exhausting, but because you're living in a slightly different reality than everyone else. You see things they don't see. You feel things they don't feel. You notice patterns they walk right past. You come home from a small birthday dinner, not even a party, completely drained. And people ask why you're tired when nothing even happened. But something did happen. You tracked every conversation, read every expression, monitored every dynamic. For 2 hours straight. When you try to share what you're seeing, people dismiss it. You're reading too much into it. It's not that deep. You're being too sensitive. So you learn to keep it to yourself. You stop sharing your observations. You stop trying to explain what you notice. And that creates a gap between you and the people around you. They think they know you, but they don't know the version of you that's constantly processing layers of reality they can't access. You start to feel like you're watching the world from behind glass, present but separate. And that separation can make you question yourself. Maybe they're right. Maybe you are overthinking. Maybe you are too sensitive. But you're not. You're just observant. And observant people see a richer, more complex world. But here's what people don't realize. You don't just notice more, you understand more. When someone says they're fine, but their voice is tight and their shoulders are tense, you know they're not fine. When the energy in a room shifts, you know something happened even if you didn't see what it was. When someone's behavior changes slightly, you notice before anyone else does. This means you often see problems coming before they fully surface. You sense when a relationship is starting to crack. You feel when someone's struggling even if they haven't said anything. You pick up on conflict brewing before it explodes. And sometimes this lets you help. To smooth things over. To offer support before it's too late. But other times, you see the problem and you're powerless to stop it. You watch it unfold exactly as you predicted, and that's its own kind of burden. Your intuition is backed by data. Here's something fascinating about how your brain works. What people call intuition, or a gut feeling, is often just rapid pattern recognition. Your subconscious brain has been collecting and cataloging information for years. Body language, tone patterns, behavioral cues. So when you get a feeling that something's off about a person or a situation, you're not being paranoid. Your brain has detected a pattern it recognizes as potentially dangerous or dishonest. This is why your intuition is often right, even when you can't articulate why you feel the way you do. Your conscious mind hasn't caught up yet, but your subconscious has already processed the data. Most people ignore those warnings because they don't have a logical explanation for them, but you've learned to trust yours, because you've seen how often they're correct. The pattern recognition advantage. Being observant doesn't just mean you see more details, it means you see connections between those details. Where most people see isolated incidents, you see patterns. You notice that someone always gets defensive when a certain topic comes up. You see that a particular behavior happens every time they're stressed. You recognize cycles repeating. This makes you incredibly good at understanding complex systems. Whether it's group dynamics, workplace politics, or personal relationships, you can map the invisible structure that's actually running things. You see cause and effect chains that others miss. And this means you can often predict outcomes before they happen. Not because you're psychic, but because you've observed the pattern enough times to know how it usually plays out. The problem is, it's hard to explain how you know what you know, because it's based on hundreds of small observations, not one big obvious thing. So, here's what it means to be the observant one. Your brain processes more information by default, which leads to overthinking because you're trying to make sense of data others never registered. This is either wired into you from birth or learned as a survival mechanism. Either way, it's not going away. It makes you lonely because you're living in a richer, more complex reality than most people can access. But it also means you catch what others miss. Your intuition is backed by massive data processing, and you see patterns that give you insight into how things actually work. You're not broken, you're not too sensitive, you're not overthinking, you're observant. And that comes with real costs, but also with real advantages. The loneliness is real, the exhaustion is real, the feeling of being different is real, but so is your ability to understand people and situations at a level most people never reach. Now I'm curious, when did you first realize you see more than other people? And did anyone believe you when you tried to explain it? Let me know in the comments, and if you appreciate insights like this that help you understand your own psychology, consider subscribing. We explore a lot more of these patterns. Thanks for being here.